The UK Muslim population is predicted to increase in leaps and bounds over the coming decades, while our population remains stagnant, if not actually in reverse. By 2050 they're predicted to reach a level of one of them for every 5 of us, and at that rate of growth, in just 2 centuries from now, they will be on equal terms with us in terms of numbers. And of course, long before that, the country will be entirely unrecognisable.
The Muslim population of Britain is 4 million today. By 2050, it's projected to be over 10 million.
4 million become 10 million. Sounds bad enough, but he doesn't say 10 million. He says more than 10 million. And Wikipedia paints a grimmer and a more precise picture. Demographics. According to a 2017 projection, the Muslim population in the UK in the year 2050 is likely to number around 13 million. That is quite a bit over 10 million, and with a total population predicted to be around 78 million at that point, that would represent, like I said, one of them for every 5 of the rest of us. And to get to those numbers, you need a population increase of around 5%, starting at approximately 200,000 per year. Starting this year with 4 million, by 2050 you get to just over 13 million, a 9 million increase in just 26 years. And you can see that 2044 is the point the increase hits 500,000 per year. You can see that in relation to the previous year. The current total annual UK birth rate is around 600,000. That 500,000 I just mentioned is their total increase, and the total increase obviously has to include deaths, and those would be around 100,000 per year at that point. So the actual birth rate at that point, just 20 years from now, is approximately our current total 600,000 per year birth rate, just 20 years from now. And that's based on predictions listed in Wikipedia, which is not generally considered to be a breeding ground for right-wing conspiracies. And the prediction is quite realistic if you look at historic trends. Between 2011 and 21, the increase was averaging about 120,000 per year. Fast forward to 2025, as per my breakdown, another 4 years down the line, and the increase projection starts around 190,000, which is pretty close. So overall, we produce about 600,000 babies per year. On the basis of this estimate, the 94%, us, will produce a miserable 400,000. And the 6%, them, will produce 200,000. You cannot get to 13 million by 2050 with less. There's no way to get from that to that in smaller leaps. In order then to match our miserable 400,000, you would simply need to double their current numbers, from the current 4 million to 8 million. Which would then mean that 8 million Muslims would be producing as many babies as 64 million of us, which gives them a reproduction rate 8 times greater, fully 8 times greater compared to our reproduction rate. How does that look further down the line? Well, take a look at the breakdown. Currently 67 million total, 4 million Muslims, 63 million non-Muslim. By 2050, projected 78 million total population, 13 million Muslims, 65 million non-Muslims. While their growth rate has exploded, our growth rate has basically completely stalled. On that basis, the Muslim population will match the native population, like I said at the top, in around 200 years, 2 centuries from now, and will then start to eclipse it. People will of course say, ah yes, but bear in mind that they're getting more educated, the women are getting more educated, they're coming out of the kitchen and they're stopping being just baby factories. And yes, it is very likely that Islam's move west, and we can take this as a positive, that Islam's move west will represent the ultimate destruction of religion. Because whenever religion and education meet, religion dies. That's why Christianity is basically dead in the West, because the West has got educated. So ultimately it will be Islam's destruction, its move to the West. However, it's worth bearing in mind that this prediction here, listed in Wikipedia, is not a short-term prediction. It's a quarter century's worth, and it shows explosive growth. No sign of slowing. And also to remember, the following is what we've got where it's not 50-50 or 1 to 5, but just a tiny 6% compared to the 94% of the rest of us. The following is what you get with just 6%. Muslim activists calling for jihad on the streets of London, Met Police don't care. Muslim activist apparently waving a swastika at an Islamic rally. Met Police say that context is required, but old English fella carries a Union Jack flag at an Islamic rally, gets arrested. And men holding St George flag at Islamic rally get warned about being racist. Starting, I believe it was last year, Islamic festival of Ramadan is now being observed at UK Premier League football clubs, and players are being given rehydration breaks during the match in deference to their Islamic fasting. Islamic religious verses are being shown during Islamic Ramadan at London train stations, and the streets are gaily bedecked with celebratory Ramadan lights, and during the Christian period of Easter as well, which of course has no recognition in Londonistan. UK policewomen are now wearing Islamic costume as part of their uniforms because they don't feel comfortable wearing the standard uniform. I originally thought this was an April Fool's joke because I saw it on April the 1st, but it's not. This is actually happening. And the Islamic call to prayer is transmitted from an official Scottish parliamentary residence. I'll bet you didn't know about the policewoman and the Islamic uniform, did you? And shall we repeat the last one with a little bit of audio? Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. With all that, for the sake of the just 6%, you can forget all about 200 years for now when they'll basically be 1 for 1. Think about 2050 and the 13 million. Imagine what you'll be seeing just round the corner with 13 million, when this is what is happening with just 4 million currently. Or 5 years from now with 5 million if that 2050 prediction is to hold its course. Or just 9 years from now, less than a decade, with 6 million or double the current population. Think of the hellscape.